Hey everybody, it's Razor from the Horror Syndicate. In today's video, we're going to do 15 independent horror movies that you must watch. Yeah, that's right. At the Horror Syndicate, we are big supporters of independent filmmakers because without independent filmmakers, we wouldn't have some actually great horror movies. So today, I'm going to give you 15 of my recommendations for indie horror films to look for. And some of these are actually streaming on Amazon Prime Video or Tubi. And if you haven't gotten the Tubi app yet and you're a horror fan, you're missing out because Tubi is the giant when it comes to having horror films. You just got to wait through a couple commercials here and there, but other than that, it's a pretty great streaming service. And you can find a lot of these online. Some of them are only available on DVD or Blu-ray. And honestly, there's no better way to support indie horror and view a movie than watching it on Blu-ray, in my opinion, or 4K for that matter, but most of these are on DVD or Blu-ray. So, and before we get into the 15, I actually have a few honorable mentions I'd like to mention coming first. Clownado, it's ridiculous. It's all right. It's written and directed by Todd Sheets. It does have a couple of names like Eileen Dietz and Linnea Quigley. Not a bad, kind of ridiculous movie. She Kills, written and directed by Bong, and it's pretty crazy. It's basically about a woman who gets revenge with her STD, Satan-infected vagina. So check that one out. And if you like ridiculous movies, check out Velocipastor. It's not great, but it's a fun movie where a pastor turns into a velociraptor, kind of like a werewolf movie. So check that one out. Empire State of the Dead is a pretty cool movie. It's a kind of an anthology with 7 shorts, produced, written, and set all in New York, and the filmmakers are all from New York State, so that's pretty cool. And the last honorable mention, which could have made the list, is Brett DeJager's Bonejangles. Yeah, this one is actually pretty awesome. It's about a serial killer named Bonejangles who's on a trip to an asylum, anyway, and he gets, the car gets broken down, or the transport gets broken down, and they end up in a town that's cursed with demons and zombies. Pretty crazy movie. Starting with number 15, Mrs. Claus, directed by Troy Escamilla, who's also done films like Party Night and Teacher Shortage, and this one was originally called Stirring, and it sounds like we might be getting a sequel to this one. It stars Brink Stevens and Helen Udy. Great slasher, takes place during Christmas time. Make sure you check this one out. It is available on Prime and Tubi. Or you can get it from the Wild Eye website, I believe. Number 14, Volumes of Blood. Now, this is a horror anthology with many directors. The standout in this one is Encyclopedia Satanica from Nathan Thomas Milliner, but the driving force behind this movie is P.J. Starks and Eric Huckesson, and there is a sequel, Volumes of Blood 2 Horror Stories. Check that one out. You can get Volumes of Blood on Blu-ray from Scream Team Releasing, or it's on Amazon streaming service. Number 13 is The Dark Military, the Lorne LaPree beginning of a trilogy. Now, this one follows a group of, well, they're called the Dark Military. They get a group of people together to stream a program over the internet, and what they do, the Dark Military hunts them down and kills them. It's a pretty cool movie, has some very intense moments, and some really great characters. You can check this one out on Tubi or Amazon, or pick up your own copy from Lorne himself or Scream Team Releasing. Number 12 is Bong of the Living Dead, directed by Max Groh, who may or may not have been completely high the entire time he made this movie. It's a pretty fun zombie movie. It's a little all over the place because you've got tonal issues kind of everywhere, but it's fun anyway. There's very sad, dramatic, heart-wrenching moments. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of pot. But it's worth watching. Definitely check it out. You can stream it on Amazon or pick up your copy at ScreamTeamReleasing.com. Number 11 is The Bad Man, the Scott Shermer film starring a couple people you'll see in the indie world, like Ellie Church and Jason Crow. It's a very, very bizarre movie that I don't really want to spoil, but it's super fucking weird and bizarre, and that's what you kind of get when you get into the mind of Scott Shermer and you see some of his other movies. This one was the standout for me. Check out The Bad Man. I believe it may be streaming on Amazon. I'm not 100% sure, but you can, well, I don't know. You should be able to buy a copy somewhere on the internet. Look it up. And number 10, Don't Fuck in the Woods. Now, this title, you should expect to see a lot of boobs, and you do from the get-go. It's kind of an insane movie. It's on Tubi. You could buy copies at conceptmediallc.com. Yeah, there are a lot of boobs. A great monster in the movie. It's actually a lot of fun, and the sequel's coming up very soon. I'm not sure when that'll be out, but I'm really looking forward to that. You can stream it on Tubi, but I do suggest getting the Blu-ray because the copy I have has it's called the Get Fucked edition, and it's got a drinking game and a well, it's a fun game. Don't Fuck in the Woods, Get Fucked game is what it's called. So check it out. There are actually breasts on the Blu-ray itself. Number 9 is Close Calls, Richard Stringham film. This is a good one, and I gotta be honest, I'm really looking forward to Richard's next effort. This one is psychedelic, and it's a mind trip. It's really good. You can tell that Richard is influenced by directors like Dario Argento and a lot of 80s horror, and you get that a lot with a lot of these indie directors. So check out Close Calls. You can get a copy from Scream Team Releasing, or check it out on Amazon Prime and Tubi. Check it out. Coming in at number 8 is one of my favorites from a couple years ago. I think it was 2018 when I saw it, and we reviewed it and had the director David Palomero on THS Lives. Is Murder Made Easy from David Palomero. It's a really fun movie. It's about a dinner party where they are killing off. I don't want to give too much away. It's really, really good. You can pick up a copy from Scream Team Releasing. It's a great movie. I just really enjoyed every second of this movie. It's a mystery more than a horror movie, really. Check it out. It's also on Amazon and Tubi as well. 1031 Part 2. Now, I didn't choose the first one. I do prefer this one to the first one. 1031 Part 2 is heavy, hilarious, and hauntingly awesome. That's my personal quote from when I reviewed the movie for thehorrorsyndicate.com. But you've got a lot of talented indie directors like Tori Van Buskirk and Stephen Wolf. Max Groh has a segment. Drew Marvick, whose name you'll hear next again. Zane Hirschberger. There's a great segment of trailers at the beginning, like, you know, your old VHS tapes. Very, very highly suggest this. The only way to get this right now is on Blu-ray or DVD from ScreamTeamReleasing.com, so check it out. Make sure you get it for October. Absolute. As I said before, number 6 is Pool Party Massacre, which comes from the brain of Drew Marvick, and it's a very kind of self-aware horror movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a lot of fun. It takes place in a backyard, a pool, in a big-ass house, and there's a lot of killing. There's some boobs. There's, you know, some hot women. It's a pretty fun movie. I didn't expect much. I love the cover art, but I popped it in and really enjoyed Pool Party Massacre. Check it out. It's on Amazon or Tubi, or you can go to poolpartymassacre.com and pick up your own copy like I did. You could also get hats like I Love Indie Horror or Support Indie Horror, things like that. So check out Pool Party Massacre. This was one of my favorites. Number 5, The Night of Something Strange. Directed by Jonathan Straiton. Stars stars a few good people, but my favorite is Wayne Johnson and Trey Harrison, especially for the final line in the film by Trey. This is another movie that has to do with a sexually transmitted disease creating zombies, kind of, with vagina tentacles. It's a lot of fun. I really loved it. It was definitely not a movie for kids to see. I will say that 100% for sure. But I'd say check it out. It's currently streaming on Tubi. Number 4, the movie that got me into wanting to get deep into indie horror is The Barn. Justin Seaman, he actually gave us a horror film that takes place on Halloween that has rules of Halloween and has the feel of the late 80s as it takes place in 1989. We've got Linnea Quigley makes a cameo. You've got Ari Lehman from, well, the original Jason, the kid Jason, of course. It's a pretty damn good movie. The sequel is currently in production, so we're looking forward to that, and hopefully it'll be out sometime in 2021. Not 100% sure. But check out The Barn, ScreamTeamReleasing.com to buy it, or check it out on Amazon Prime Video or Tubi TV. And when I say check things out on Amazon or Tubi, Amazon doesn't have commercials, Tubi does. So if it's on Amazon, watch it on Amazon. So, number 3, welcome to the scariest show on earth. There's a great debate going around in indie horror. Who do you like better, Papa Corn or Art the Clown? Now, Circus of the Dead, the Billy Pond film, is balls to the wall. It's actually terrifying, and it will renew your fear of clowns forever. And Papa Corn by Bill Obrist, played by Bill Obrist, is terrifying as fuck. Check this out. It's streaming on Amazon, but you could also buy a copy on Amazon, and there's a new edition that's fresh. Number 2, I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday. No food, no hope, no well. One of my favorite indie horror films of the last 10 years. Now, you might think I'm showing favoritism because Mike Lombardo was a part of the Horror Syndicate Lives podcast for 2 years, but this is actually a great movie. Mike did a fine job, and it took a long time for him to make this, but the film looks beautiful, and it kicks you right in your nuts and makes you kind of depressed by the time the movie's over. Hope Bickle is a great lead, and you can feel her sadness, her everything that she's feeling through the film. Such a great movie. Check it out. It is on Scream Team Releasing, and I believe it's streaming on Amazon Prime. But this one's worth owning. It won many awards in the Film Fest circuit in, I think it was 2018. I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday is definitely one to check out, especially around the holidays if you want to get your holiday depression on. Number 1 is The Sleeper. Now, this was the first Scream Team Releasing Blu-ray release other than The Barn, I believe. Justin Russell made this back in, well, it came out in 2012, I believe, and kind of was one of those mysteries of horror films. People had heard of it, people had seen it. The copies of it were going for $50, $60, and I was going to buy one, and I mentioned it on Facebook, and Justin Seaman pulls me aside and says, "Hey man, I'm getting ready to release that with Scream Team Releasing. Why don't you wait and get my great edition?" And I got it. I absolutely loved it. It's a throwback to the 80s slashers. Takes place in 1981, which was really the biggest boom year of the 80s slasher movies. With movies like Friday the 13th Part 2, The Prowler, My Bloody Valentine. So 1981 was kind of the boom year for 80s slashers. And this one it takes place in a college campus. It has the longest chase scene of all time. There's some boobs in it because everybody likes a little boob action in their horror. And it's just a really good slasher. And if not made by a independent filmmaker, it would fit right in with all those 1981 slashers, even though it came out in 2012. It's a great movie that you can only find on Blu-ray or DVD from Scream Team Releasing. So check it out. Get The Sleeper on Blu-ray. It's definitely worth a watch. I loved it. Justin created his whole company, Scream Team Releasing, just to get this movie back out for everybody to see. So check it out and tell me what you think of The Sleeper. So yeah, a lot of these movies are available streaming on Amazon or Tubi. Honestly, if it's one or the other, pick Amazon because there are no commercials. But Tubi is worthy of your time in watching horror. You can get the phone app, you can get it on your TV or whatever. I really dig it. There's a lot of good classic movies on there too. Or a good chunk of them are from Scream Team Releasing. And just go to ScreamTeamReleasing.com, and they've got probably a good 15, 20 movies now at this point. And there are other ones that are really worth checking out. So if you like what we're doing, please hit the subscribe button. We're aiming for 500 by the end of the year. Give us a like if you like the video, if you like the content. Let us know what your favorite indie horror films are. And we're talking films that have budgets of around $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, anything really under $100,000. That's where the bread and butter is here in these movies. Subscribe to the channel, The Horror Syndicate. Check out thehorrorsyndicate.com and hit the Facebook up because we're doing all kinds of good stuff on Facebook, including the Horror Syndicate Discourse, a live show where we talk about all of our favorite horror movies, and every now and again we'll have a guest. So check it out, and thanks for watching.